Hello, everyone. It's
Hi.
it's been a little bit since we came together. We've been kind of busy in our own lives and had some healing stuff to do. And we're here. We're back. 2026 in Mercury retrograde. So, can
Yeah.
happen.
It's so fun.
Yeah. uh, Mary and I have been talking today about identity and mastery, and that it actually never stops. In this healing journey, in our lived reality on this planet, we experience trauma, we experience triggers, we experience things. And perhaps if we're a child, we create these ways of being, and then that's our magnetic. So we continue attracting them. That was our particular experience, and many others. And then we had to unravel that. And then you get to have the next level. You get to face it again in a different way, and you get to see how you respond, and then you heal that. And being teachers, I like to think of it more as a guide. I always used to say it was a tour guide. One, because I love travel, but tour guides is always pointing to what's there in the other person. Because I don't have your answers. I don't want them. I don't. I'm gonna be like, this is the mirror. You have your own answers. But it's like if a tour guide is pointing to what's there. So if we're tour guides and we're pointing to what's there, we're still on the journey. We're still walking through the journey,
Yeah.
and we get to still interact with it. We still get tested. We still have things come up. Mary and I have been talking online and personally and with clients and friends of all the different things that are coming up. Like, for instance, I did a Instagram post on wanting to commit suicide, and it was
Mhm.
several years ago. And I literally called a friend and I said, I'm just calling to tell you I'm committing suicide tomorrow. But there wasn't any kind of dramatic energy. I wasn't like, you know, please stop me. I'm calling for help. No, I had actually decided. I was very calm. I was kind of really indifferent about it. And as I said, I like me being me, I did research. I'm like, okay, what's the best way? What's the easiest way? What's the quickest time? Because I really wanted the pain to stop. I really wanted I just had so much going on, from like spiritual attacks to personal attacks to business failures. All these different things were coming at me, and I just broke. I just was done. And I was done with this planet. Like, I was like, okay, I've had enough. My body's had enough. And I chose that was my decision. So I called a friend. And literally, the only reason I called her was because I wanted one person to know what happened to me. I didn't feel that anyone cared. Like, my family had been gone for a couple decades, all of that. And I just wanted one person to know. And I actually don't even know what she's told me, but she said something, and, you know, obviously, since it's a few years now.
It changed the trajectory.
Exactly. So this is not the ghost of Leva. I mean, that maybe the skeleton of Mary, but
Yeah.
I am whole in here in corporeal form.
Oh my goodness.
So, whatever she told me got me to stop. And then I still had to go on a healing journey, and it was still difficult, and it still had lots of pieces. Yet I can say that I can now share that, and there isn't a trigger around it. There isn't a, you know, like pulling on the heartstrings. so that I can share it, so that someone who's in the same place
Hmm.
can feel like they're not alone or they're seen of, oh my God, someone is speaking how I felt or speaking to the despair in my personal life or what's going on in the planet, in the world, of just feeling kind of despair or hopelessness or whatever you're feeling. And it's, of course, not just Mary and I. There are people who are voicing what you're experiencing. And that's what a guide is. It's someone who's willing to say what their journey is. And yet the journey still continues. Like, we're not perfect. We still go through things. We're still tested. We're still healing, and we're still on the journey. And we're willing to share that with you.
Why we literally mean it when we say it is not linear.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
literally.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you ever feel, I should be further along, I should be over this, I thought I dealt with this. We've all felt that. And then I healed this. Nope. You get next level. I mean, I don't play video games. I have one literal time in my life, but there are video games, they do levels. So you go to the next level.
Fucking video games.
I mean, I've heard they do levels. so, so yes, you're going to the next level. So even though it seems like I thought I did this or I thought I dealt with this. Life is a spiral. So you are coming to this. And maybe if it seems similar or has a same kind of feel or frequency or even like something that you've experienced before, you are a different person. Your identity is a different
Yeah,
person. Your response can be different or it can be similar or it could be a gradation of both, and you're just going to continue in that spiral. So I think kind of the moral of the story is wherever you are, it's perfect and we're on the journey together.
absolutely. I think there's different ways of explaining that spiral because, like, in my head, I keep thinking of the artichoke. Well, because people say onions, but I like artichokes better because the center of the artichoke is the heart, you know?
Mm.
Um, and artichokes taste way better than onions. So, but I just think of that like each phase, each I know, sorry, I'm being dorky. But each phase and each time that we go through these trials or these meetings of ourselves in honesty and seek counsel and go through the motions, we're able to experience a new level and a new version of like a closer to our center. And I just that's the gift of the work.
Mm. As you were speaking, it also reminded me of the rings of a tree, like that.
Love
That's the
that.
goal, and like that's the wisdom. Like
Hmm.
the more that width you have those circles, that shows your wisdom. So if you're judging yourself of, I should be over this, I should have be past this. Why am I still facing this? You're not. You're a different person and you have a different choice and different possibilities. And you are literally coming to it with a different level of yourself and a different level of wisdom. So, what if you just drop the judgment?
What would happen then, Leva?
You will not end up like the skeleton. Okay.
No, and I think that it's like really incredible. Yeah, we don't get to grow if we don't walk through it. And it doesn't mean that, like you said, it doesn't mean that we're not going to experience life or experience these nuances or repeat these things. It just at what level? And where am I going to be in that? You know, what is the level of my choice even in that? Yeah, I think it's really, I love yeah. I want to be able to touch on a little bit of what you were sharing with the suicide and some of my experience this week. Um, and just like where, where that coincides with where I get to grow so that I can just, yeah, lean into the community, right? So for me, suicide is also a really big one. Um, and I've been there for a lot of my, or I was there for a lot of my life. And through my recovery and this incredible work that I, again, will lean into forever, um, I've been able to experience joy and a love for life, a love for myself. Oh my gosh, and the way that I get to show up and the way that I've created the way that I get to show up. And I'm still, again, I'm still in a lot of the processes. I have a year left in my doctorate, but of my 5-year program, and there, so there's still a lot of these things. But I've worked very, very hard for what I have and for everything for my son and I, right? And last year, my cousin, after we had lost my aunt to cancer, his mother, he went into a spiral, but he was there before, and just the trajectory went boom. And he was really suicidal. And I'm saying, like, if anything could have been done, we've tried it all. Like, and we lost him. And in that same week, my son's father was supposed to be home. So it was like these two really important men. I for sure lost my cousin, but now what about this man? Like, what's going on? And so I go into this story in my head. And so, yeah, I was afraid of losing someone who wasn't really afraid of losing themselves or showing up for themselves. And I allowed that into my home even, and into my life. And everything that I've been working on, thank God, is all, everything's safe. But it's like all of that and the joy and that like rhythm of my movement, it was just starting to go away. Every day I'm like, what is going on? I'm talking to my community, I'm reaching out to my people. And here's the important thing for me is that like I know the people I reach out to are gonna be honest with me. They're gonna laugh at me a lot of times, but it's like they're gonna be honest with me. And it does not yes. I often feel like people are like, oh, fucking Mary. And it's like, and it's okay because I'm human, man. I didn't get all the tools, but I do get to learn and I get to lean in and I get to make these choices. And so the beauty of it is that I started to realize, man, I'm not safe and neither is my son. And as much as I wish all these things and have this fantasy made up in my head and I'm so afraid of his lack of worth of life and him killing himself. I'm afraid of that still, but it's like it can't come at the cost of me. And it definitely is just not coming at the cost of my son. So what do I do? And I like make this safety plan with the people that I trust and love. And that did not go as planned. Now, so 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 the plan is to off like and we've already had this discussion because it's not the first time, right? But it's like we've already had this discussion like, hey, it doesn't feel safe here. You're pushing me, all these things. It's not safe. Now it's like, hey, you need to find somewhere else to go. But that wasn't even available. And then my life was in jeopardy. My life was in jeopardy, and so was my dogs. And thank God my son wasn't home. And that's the truth. Is it hard to admit? Yeah, it was a little embarrassing at first, especially when I called the cops, and it was like the second time they've been there, right? And then when I was sitting in the arraignment and I see, he wasn't the first one up, and I'm just watching on the screen because I don't really want to go in. I'm like, this is a weird situation. I can't tell you how many of the same situations were coming up over and over. And I'm like, this is like the new speeding ticket around here. This is wild. And then I go to my meeting and I reach out, and then I'm surrounded and I'm getting all these messages online and all these things of these women and these people who either been through it, are going through it, couldn't follow through with it and are proud of me, left their family because their mother wouldn't go through with it and they're proud of me. And I'm just realizing, like, wow. And so here's the part for me is like, I felt so without having my freedom in my home that I was already ready to make these choices. And then when the same cycle came up again, and then you're like, oh, that like it's a fantasy. I'm in love with the fantasy, right? So when that same cycle comes up again and I have an opportunity to make this different choice, there's that let go and then that space for my higher power to come in, right? And here's the coolest part is that like I'm not saying it's not hard and that I haven't cried and bawled my eyes out for the situation. Like it sucks. I don't want my kid to be sad. I don't want to be sad. Low key, it's like, what the hell was that? To like, why would you choose that? Like I'm sad for that person's choices. Like it makes me sad that people would choose that in this world. And then the truth is I have been wrapped in my community. I've been wrapped in the work that I have been putting my feet in for years. You know, I am supported and loved and held. And so there's almost this way where it's like I'm just being carried through the whole thing because I'm able to like reach out and I've learned to do that. And in my life before, and before starting to do this work and learning about the amazing power of community and just like being part of, I thought that I had to do everything by myself. Shame and ridicule and all those things ate me. And then all the labels and all the things and the trauma of my family and that whole dynamic made me unfixable, unlovable, unable to be a part of, I shouldn't be part of this world. So I over identify with that sometimes. And it's really hard for me because I lived there for most of my life because my abuse started very young. I was in diapers. Okay. So it's like I'm working on that and it's going to be this forever journey. But the transformation piece of being able to lean into all that is like just this deeper love for myself and a deeper want to be able to get to the core. So this is why it's not linear because you got choices here. But my choice is to lean in because like I really want to be better and I really want to be able to like love myself even deeper. And that's the truth. And so for me right now, it's getting up in the morning and doing my practices and like leaning into my community and then doing that for my son too. And so I just think it's like such a beautiful, like me and Leaf are always on this wave together and maybe not in the same time frame, but it was just so beautiful that she's sharing these things and I'm like, yeah. It's
Yeah.
so potent and so relevant and so many of us have such an experience with this that really is life changing. And so what direction do we want that to go? And how are we allowing ourselves to either heal or where are we keeping ourselves stuck in that cycle where we're going to repeat it and not where we don't want to, you know?
Yeah. And also, who is pouring into you? So, are you listening to the people who are maybe like ultra religious and like, you're just wrong, or you deserve it, or, even in the spiritual community, not just religious, of like, well, you attracted this, or things like that. And,
If
there
you
are,
didn't wear those clothes now, or, like that kind
yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
there's, there's shades of, there's shades of truth and like what's said, and there is a spectrum of like, okay, are we going to like the judgment
Hmm.
part, or are we going to the healing part? So it's like, who is pouring into you? Are you listening to the people who maybe have actually been there, who have actually done a level of healing and are continuing to do so, who don't actually think, well, I've got it all covered, or I should never have gone through that, or you shouldn't be going through that. There's something wrong with you if you are. Like, you get to choose who's pouring into you, who you're listening to. Are you choosing the ones who are loving and who are in the work and who are always in, like, you don't always have to be in the energy.
Accountable,
Yes.
like accountable,
Yes.
coming from
And
the right place, you know?
yes. So it's like, is it the judgment or is it the healing? It's like the energy, even in biblical, like, so Jesus was really inclusive of the people who were shunned by the Pharisees. Like, he actually said, like, the Pharisees, they all looked pretty on the outside, but they were full of dead men's bones and, like, just kind of like that hypocritical, judgmental piece. Whereas he was inclusive of, those who had leprosy or who were prostitutes or whatever, different religions, different cultures. So it's like, it's also the energy of, like, okay, are you being in judgment or are you being in love? Is it Christ-like or is it just chronic judgment? Like, again, and it's like that choice. Who are you listening to? Who's pouring into you? And sometimes you have to walk away from those people. For Mary and I, some of those people were family. Some are different friends, and you kind of go through those
Mhm.
levels. And it's not also about judging them, it's about, okay, we're just not aligned right now. And
Oh, and I want, oh, go ahead.
and I deserve to be with those who are aligned and who are not judging me.
Exactly. And I'm so sorry. I was not trying to interrupt you, but I was like, oh my gosh, let's touch on that really quick too, because I love telling on myself because I really do. Like I do. I'm just like a very honest person. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I did. And then I learned this because I learned through mistakes and I again, I'm in recovery. So everything I got to kind of like learn my life and that's great. But here's the thing is like, as was shared. So our families, not, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that it don't work, right? And there is stuff to be done there and it's not right because either way, we're both experiencing trauma and abuse with one another, right? So my bright idea, one of those first initial thoughts before I reach out to community, again, people I can trust that I have worked with that I know are safe and all the things, it's like I want to go back to the family because maybe then maybe that's right or something, but that's like another of those thoughts, right? And so it is so important in building those foundational relationships. And that's why even when there isn't crisis or there isn't this hard stuff to work through per se, we're still always in the work. There's muscle memory in there. There's muscle memory in picking up the phone and telling on yourself or just talking about like the truth of really what's going on for you. And once you have these people who really know you and understand you, then it's kind of hard to like leave God bless you. It's like one of the things that she said and it really like this is what really helped me see myself. It was like, no, no, you're not struggling with knowing or understanding anything. You're struggling with making a decision. And that was what I really needed to hear. Because if I really listened to my body and my insides and everything, I already had the answers. And that's how I was able to come up with the plan. Did the plan work? No. But we came up with the plan. Okay. And that was the point is that even before all this happened, thank God that there was like a willingness and a change and a transformation in this way that I saw the dynamic. And I didn't have to rescue this person who is suicidal and mentally unwell, who's literally volatilely like unsafe. Like I don't have to over identify in all of that. I'm not that person. I've never been that person. And so there's this really huge beauty in being able to like be honest. And I think that's hard when things are hard and there are deep rooted stuff. It's just the truth.
And it's also hard when it's not modeled to us, whether it's in family or religion or the spiritual community or the coaching community or in politics or all the things, it's not modeled. So it has to be something that we have to assume. I was talking about identities. Like most of us, the identity we have is not the one that we would have if we were in our divine blueprint, because it's absorbed. It's what your parents told you, it's what your lineage, it's everyone around you, the environment, the heritage, all of these different things. So there's so many inputs that make up your identity. And it's like,
Mm,
but if you take all that away, who are you? And it's a constant uncovering. I remember when
mhm,
I first left the religion and I was like, I don't actually know what I like, because for 21 years I was told what to wear, what to say, who to marry, how to dress, all of these different things. So it's like I got to 21 and I'm leaving the religion, and everything I knew, everything I thought to be true, everything I was told was true. And then I'm like, is that true for me? And I didn't know.
mhm.
And it's, again, as Mary said, like it's a constant, unveiling. It's like, okay, I guess it's like the dressing room of reality. Like, I'm trying this on.
27 dresses of reality. No.
Like, no, this one doesn't quite fit. Like that kind of sticks. Like, I thought I like that. It looked great over there, and I tried
Yeah,
it
can I fight in that one? No. I used to like, I can never wear a dress because I got to be prepared to fight. That was me at one point in my life. It's like, no. We've grown. We've grown. Truth
out.
be told, I still don't really super like dresses. I'll dress up for a little bit, like a couple
And
hours.
I'm totally the dress girl.
Yeah,
So
and so yeah. I'm like, cool.
yeah, when I did my yoga teacher training, I would wear like dresses that were like fitted on the top and kind of belled out, and then I'd wear my yoga leggings underneath. And they did a like a photo shoot, and the photographer was like, "Do you want to change?" And my instructor was like, "Oh, she dresses like that all the time." So we
You're like a
all
little mushroom with like your legs in the air and then this like dress all around. She's like a little teacup mushroom. Oh, leave it. I love that.
we all have our things, but yeah, it's like, and what if it's constantly changing? Because again, different inputs, different energies. We talked about you're going around the spiral, you're changing your points of view. There are different things happening in the world, and you're looking at all these frames of reference, and you're constantly in the ask or in the question, who am I? And what if it doesn't have to be static either? Like, I have to be this person, and these are my beliefs. And yeah, maybe there are some that stay, and they also don't have to. Like, this can be true for me today or tomorrow or, 5 years ago, but maybe tomorrow it won't be. So it's like, what's true for
And
you?
that's okay. It is
Exactly.
okay to change your mind.
Yes. Yes.
Holy schmucks. It's
Yeah.
okay to say no. It's okay to, oh, I didn't mean that. And I changed my mind.
Yes. The till death do you part, type of relating to everything. Like, I made
That's
a
an instinct.
decision. I have to stick with it. I have to be with this person, or I made
Must
this
be
choice.
more.
I made this vow and it doesn't work for me and it's like killing me. But hey, we're committed.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Yeah.
And I 100% believe in marriage, but I'm talking about
No,
like
I
the
know that. Yeah.
like till death do you part. We think about it in our
Oh,
in
yeah.
our ideas, or even who we think we are. We made a commitment or a decision. Not to say you shouldn't be committed to things either, but if it doesn't work anymore, if it's not aligned anymore, stop holding on to it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things that I kept holding on to that I had to let go of have claw marks. So that's not like but I let go. So it's okay. However, it has to happen, have it happen. But there's not space for that peace and freedom and serenity or any of those ooey good stuff if you're being like suppressed in all of those other matters. And so it's really hard. There's fear in that, right? And that's the thing, is like, what the hell is on the other side? How it's like grieving too, right? You've got to go through this whole process of like of learning to like live all over again. But that's the process of being a human. That's the process of enlightened reach, going towards that enlightenment. Otherwise, if you want to settle, like, you're welcome to, like, that option is there, but just know that. Just understand that you're doing that. Know it, like, when you're making a choice, do it from a place of really understanding that you're making that choice. To my ability, I understood that I was making this choice. I knew that I was making this choice because I was afraid of suicide. And I knew that I was making this choice, even though it was scary about him being in early recovery and all the things. And I knew that I was making the choice still, this one last chance for my family and all the things. I wasn't blind to that piece. So, to the level of the ability, again, I reach out to my community and I'm honest. So that's, again, what's the conversation? Let me repeat this back to you. So you're saying that this person is safe, even though this time this happened, this time this, he's not like that anymore. This time, oh yeah, but that was that. So you know what I mean? And so I'm getting frustrated, and then it's like, okay, so now you're getting frustrated. So let me again repeat to you. So you're getting frustrated at me. And so that's the conversation. And then I have to sit with that. You think I'm going to sit with that and not listen and not like twirl around in my brain? Because I love that woman. I love her. And she loves me. And she's going to tell me the hard shit. And so I'm going to listen. And even though it's the hard shit, I got to make a different choice because I promised myself. And she's keeping it real with me right now. So I got to listen. And then there you go. It's like there were claw marks. There's more than claw marks, but we'll go over that maybe another time. But like the thing is, it's like now there's so much room for all the things that I have been working on and all the possibilities and the hope and the healing and the community and all the things that with that darkness and that overconsumption of suffocation doesn't exist. Is it fearful in the suffocation? Fuck yeah, I can't breathe. Of course there's fear in there. But I have faith now. I'd rather have more faith because with faith, then fear can't really exist. With faith, you get out from under the fucking suffocation, you make the choice necessary, and then the light's there. That's faith. And that's where I want to reside. I don't get to live there all the time. I am a human,
Right.
And so I think that's part of the gift today is just like, I'm so excited to share that, wow, this power of community as yet
The skeleton
again.
the skeleton. He's got your
Yeah,
hand.
I know. He's like, he's getting fresh. He's like, yeah, girl. But no, we're high-fiving for life. But it's like, I'm just so blown away at the incredible, yet again, possibility of leaning into the community. And it's not that I didn't believe that it existed. It's just like the comfort of like, wow, I don't have to carry all that alone again. Again, you know?
Yeah. And also something you touched on in our private conversations of once you finally make the choice, the relief on the other side. Like the
Ah,
it's the holding on and the holding on of like and you question yourself and like you're confused and all of these things, but it's like, are you or are you just like fighting what you know? But once you actually make that choice and go through with it, the relief in the space and like, wow, I've been like operating under so much weight and so much of
Mm-hmm.
like that pressure or fear or whatever your experience is. But when you are willing to move out of that, you have relief, you have space, you can like feel yourself
Mm-hmm.
again and like, huh, okay, I can breathe again. I can feel myself again. I can be again and like have just me in this space
Mm-hmm.
without that kind of like hovering dark cloud that we get used to because it's familiar, or we think we should be holding it or whatever it is. But what if you're facing something right now? What if you're willing to let it go? What if you're willing to follow what you actually know is true? You're knowing, because you do know. Like the I don't know is always a fallacy,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a part of you that actually always knows. And are you listening to it?
Or have you learned to tune in? Like, cause like that's also real too, is just like there is impulsivity and then there is like complete disconnect of the body where, where we're not even tuned in any way. And so that's why our practices are important. That's why it's like, I, I don't, my mat's not here for like nothing. Like I get up every morning and even if I'm having trouble sleeping and stuff, like I'm sitting there, I'm meditating, I'm praying, I'm connecting in some way. Like, throughout my day even like, and I do my best to do that, and or even through others, and so I just think like, because here's the thing, I also want to touch on this real quick because this was like also a really beautiful gift of doing the work, right? Because look, it's not perfect. I'm a little messy sometimes. No, but no, it's like the beauty of doing the work and sticking in this is that my kid has experienced the work, right? Like my kid has lived in this for in the beauty of the work and community and all of that, learning how to ask for help, all the things for so long, for his whole life. And it's beautiful. Has he experienced trauma? Yeah, we all do. Are there things that I wish that I fucking didn't do? Yeah. And like this last choice was a really fucking, it's a rough one. We're gonna work through that, And here's the thing. I'm going through this and I'm worried about how I'm going to express this to my son. Of course I don't want to break his heart. No. And then on top of it, I was like, frick, it's my choice that's making this. He could have just stayed lost in October, but here we are rescuing people. Ah, but here we are, and so let's just like face this with the truth because that's the best that I know how to do, and let's do it in our community. And that's exactly what we did, right? And so I'm talking to him and I'm letting him know, and I'm just like, I'm real sorry. I tried everything I absolutely could, but my job is to keep you safe. And now dad's, he's just not going to be home. Like I can't do this anymore. And like, and he's like, yes, which is like really kind of like telling, but he's also crying and he's like, where is he? I think the yes actually came later. Sorry, my brain's a little funny right now. But it was like literally he's crying about him being gone, but he looks up at me and it's like I've got, a black eye on my face. He's like, I have a hospital bracelet. He's like, what is going on with you? Oh my God, he did it again. And it's like he already knows. And that's disgusting to me, right? So then he's like, well, he deserves to be in jail. So then I'm like, oh, so, so, okay, so I raised you right. You know what I mean? And then it's like the arraignment happens, and he's worried about, is dad coming home? Is he not coming home? What's happening? And I just let him know. I was like, honey, they're taking this very seriously. He's probably going to be doing some time. And, just let me know anything that you need. And he's like, no, he deserves to be there. What was he thinking? Trying to take you and the dog away so that I would be left in the world with nothing? And it was like, oh, shit. Wow. And it was just like, I'm so proud of you, baby. And that's the thing is that it's like in the healing and in the work, they watch all the time. So you can continue the same cycle if you want. And like literally, you have permission in your life, you have choices, but they're watching. And there's nothing more terrifying to my son, not losing his dad. That's not as terrifying as his mother and him being harmed and him not being able to breathe in his home. And that's the gift is like he's literally in the healing and he's in this beautiful, beautiful bubble of the community. And I'm not saying that he's not harmed. Like we've got stuff to work through. And also I get to do so much of the work so he doesn't have to. And that's my choice. And that's my promise.
Yeah. And as Mary said, it is a choice. You don't actually have to do anything. You could, I don't know if people believe in past lives or, future, but I'm like, can I just be done with this one? I've done this a lot.
I'm good. Yee! I'm gonna go fly around.
This planet has some like issues, so we can like make this good. Like
It's a little prickly.
let's do this, do it well, get up to the highest video game level I can and be like, peace out. So it's choice.
There is.
Yeah. And we're talking about some things that are maybe heavier topics, and there is depth and there is wisdom to them. And they also don't have to always be so heavy. It doesn't mean that at times you don't feel crushed and suicidal or broken or tearful. And in the healing, there is light that can come in all the ways.
Yeah. No, and it's exactly right. Like because of the light, I've even made some jokes about some things that would probably seem really inappropriate to most people, but because of our ability of dark humor in here, um, we're able to make light of situations that honestly I've spent a lot of time crying over. I spent previous years beating myself up and wanting to die over. You know what I mean? Because I get to experience the light, that stuff gets to almost be comical that I was just that unwilling to let go. Like that it's because it starts to be funny in a sense of like, wow, I'm literally like struggling so hard. There's Mary again. You know what I mean? And oh, there's Mary again. And then I get to just like fall in love with myself. There gets to be a curiosity and an adventure about life without all the shame, without all the ridicule and the judgment and blah. It's just like, hey, I'm here. This is where I'm at. Like, what you got? you know? And like, let's get into reality and into alignment. And the more we do the practices, the more we do the things, the more we reach out and we start to learn what that is in our body, the more we can't live in that other. Trust me. It don't feel right, And then the more we heal, the more aligned. It's never done. But if you, again, there's always that choice.
Yeah. So if I had to sum up our conversation, I don't think I could have because we talked about a lot of stuff.
We did. There was a lot there.
So take what you want.
He's like, and high five. I think the thing is like I was talking to Leva before we got on, and we knew like she knew for herself and where the post, and I hope I'm not just speaking for you either, but for our conversation was that like, oh, there's this there's this like really heavy thing or like, and then I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to just get on here and act all okay. And I've got this thing. It's like there's an elephant in the fucking room, and I'm like, shh. And he's just like here, trunk and all. And you're just like, and so how do we bring that together? Because really, there is such potent experience in it all, and there is such I mean, over 80% of women go through some form of abuse, before the age of 15, which is crazy. And so, and then and then suicide has been really high. So, and it's not something that's like going away. And how do you deal with that? What's the way to handle that? And how do you honor people, but also honor yourself? And there's a lot of things wrapped up in that. And so how do we expose that and then come together and like open up the field or the floor for that healing to come forward for the mass, because we know we're not alone in it, right? And we already told you that we're not afraid to have the awkward conversation, so let's not pretend that we didn't already tell you what's up. So, right?
Us watch our post, you know, real life, and I'm doing like the hashtag REEL and REAL, real life. And what if you're just willing to talk about it? I mean, I think that's part of the difficulty that a lot of us have had, is it's so suppressed. Don't talk about these things. If there's
Sweep it
trauma,
under the rug.
there's trauma in the family, if there's these things that happen in your religion, whatever, don't talk about it. It's not nice, it's not good. But that's what creates the shame, and that's what creates the pressure, and it creates like these.
Generationally, that is that whole generational. My grandpa's straight. Why can't you just sweep it under the rug? Like, literally, if you're going to keep that suppressed and suppressed, you are going to carry that forward, or you're not. You're going to let it go, and you're going to do the work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if you continue suppressing it, you're going to self-destruct, or it's going to come out sideways. So, I mean, all we have to do is look out what's happening in the world. But hey, everyone's having conversations that maybe they haven't had for a long time or haven't been aware of. So everyone just talk about everything. Yes. And ultimately, know wherever you are, whatever you've experienced, you are not alone. You're not alone. And wherever you think you are in the journey, or wherever you are judging yourself to maybe not be on the journey, it's okay. It's okay. It's continued, and we're doing it together.
Yeah. It's not that there's not those parts of me, even sometimes, that feel like I want to keep this to me. And even sometimes it does take me a little bit to like expose my truth. But those are always like the most tumultuous times of my life, because the secrets, right? So we're just inviting you in on that. There's a real beauty in being able to just and be in yourself, even if it's uncomfortable. It's way better than when you're on the outside.
And it's also an invitation to others who maybe are going through the similar things or feeling the same, and they haven't felt strong enough or seen enough to say. Yet when someone comes forward and says, I went through this, or I'm experiencing this, or I dealt with this, or I did this, or whatever, they're like, oh, again, that relief of like, I'm not alone. There's someone else. And if we can all just offer that to one other person, how much would that shift the world?
I love it.
Mhm. So we see you, we love you, and including the skeleton, he is high-fiving everyone.
Yeah, you still got it. There's usually a plant in there, but that's dead too.
Oops. Like
It's a planter and then another planter. So, you know, it's like he's my buddy.
he's chilling. He's like, "Hey."
I hope that you're able to find joy. I hope that you're able to find joy in your day. And if you're struggling with that, I hope you're able to reach out. And I hope that you're able to do something for yourself to shift your situation if that's something that you need. And if you need some help, again, I hope that you're able to reach out.
Yes. Until next time, we love you, we see you, and be blessed.
Be blessed.